Mala. Today we're going to be continue on with the story of Ngundeng. Where we left off, we was talking about his childhood and his birth. If you like to get a recap of it, there'll be a link in the description below where you could watch part 1. Today we are going to be continuing on his story about his adulthood. I'll be having the text on the screen so you can follow along while I read it. But besides that, here we go. Ngundeng's early manhood coincided with a time of drought and scarcity along the Sobat. Raids against some Anyuag increased, but there were attempts to settle peacefully alongside neighboring Anyuag communities. The Long and Bungjag, he had 3 wives by now. He had a seizure after the failure of the Bungjag campaign. He claimed to be seized by an unnamed divinity and tried to get people to listen to him. People said when his divinity then spoke, people denied it, saying divinity is about. A few said, what makes Ngundeng stupid? Others say it was a divinity, and some said he was a fool. He felt both isolated and rejected. Ngundeng's usual behavior included wandering alone in the bushes, fasting for long periods, only drinking water and eating human manure. Yeah, Brody really did that. He avoided speaking or arguing with people. It's for this reason that no one treated him seriously when he began talking about his divinity. I mean, yeah, if you met someone like who is acting a weird certain way, like especially eating human feces, and yeah, I don't think no one's gonna take you seriously about whatever truth that they're speaking about. Me personally, I don't think I would have taken them seriously because, man, you eating feces, bro. But anyway, let's continue on with the story. He built a small mountain shrine, but abandoned it when he decided to settle among the low. He passed through Kwani Luo Thong. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. Excuse me on that. Near Nasser, and then tried to cross the river by canoe with his wives, 2 children, and his cattle. When he arrived, he was mocked as the fool of Wangkek, called him a liar, beat him up, broke his bead necklace, threw his shrine stick and his leopard skin in the river, and they took his cattle. Ngundeng expressed shock at the treatment, saying, "Why do my father, sister, son treat me like this? Even if I were a fool, should they take my things by force and throw them into the river?" He decided to go to the low and seek out his maternal, I think I'm pronouncing that right or not, uncles is typically a many Norman who find themselves in conflict with other relatives. For the bond between a man and his mother's brothers is partially strong and tender. He wanted to express divinity to the people. His grandson claimed that his apparent madness was intended by divinity to attract attention. Divinity knew that no one would believe Ngundeng. If he spoke like us, so he was angry. In those days, the Noor did not believe that an owner of divinity spoke truly, even if he killed people. But his seizures alienated those he was supposed to attract. Ngundeng hoped for greater recognition elsewhere. Before he went to his mother's people, he went to the Xie section of Yual Gadbal at Panyang, now Po Turu. These were the children of his mother's father. They already have an earth master, a Dinka named Ray Kirjuk. They feared that Ray Kirjuk would return to the Dinka if they let in Ngundeng, because Ngundeng is also a Earth Master. The elders of the Chia section discussed the matter. They said, "Boys, Ngundeng and Rei Kirjuk. Rei Kirjuk is a Earth Master, and Ngundeng Bok is an Earth Master. Boys, can we have two Earth Masters in our camp? Can we keep two Earth Masters both in Panyang? We will not get rain in our camp if we have two Earth Masters." They asked, "How will we solve it?" One said, "We will do it this way. Ngundeng must go to his grandmother's people. Paul and Yual section are one. They are Gadbal together. Ngundeng would not be sent away, but he must go to his mother's people. Now, if we send Rei Kijuk away, he is a foreigner and may leave us completely. But Ngundeng will settle with his grandmother's people." Ngundeng left with a bad grace. He left for Guet, south, or I think it's Juet. I believe it's Juet, southeast of Motdit, where his mother's section lived. At Juet, Ngundeng settled with the Malual subsection of Pol. He apparently lived a normal life, cultivation and tending cattle for 2 years. Then he had a seizure and went mad again. The seizure was preceded by a illness which produced partial paralysis. Damn. Shortly after he recovered, he went mad. As with the previous seizures, Ngundeng would go walking in the bushes again. He then stopped eating normal food and drinking milk, but ate tobacco, mud, grass, and even human manure. Brody's going back eating that again, man. Ngundeng became very thin. His hair grew long and matted. In Jikane, people avoided him. Ngundeng had at least 4 wives, having married a Rumjuk woman in Lo. Nyatutkun, the mother of his second son, Rieth, is remembered to have been particularly exasperate. I think that's the word. I don't know. My bad. I'm not even saying all these words correctly. My fault. You know, if you want to Google and then correct me, then go ahead. But anyways, Ngundeng used to go to the bushes by himself, eating only tobacco and water. Then would come back home and not see Nyatutkub there. She left the doorway of her hut open, and so Ngundeng found some tobacco, which Nyatut hid from him because she no longer regarded him as a good man. Nyatut returned. When she saw it was him, she said, "It is you, Ngundeng." Ngundeng replied, "It is I, Mun Rieth." He hid the tobacco with his hands between his thighs. She shouted, "You fool who dirties his hands with feces. Do you not come here to take my tobacco? You are no good." She grabbed the tobacco but caught the hold of his testicles too. She pulled his testicles and he collapsed. She shouts, "You have spoiled my tobacco and you do not bring me anything I can use." Damn, she really pressed the issue right there, I ain't gonna lie. Ngundeng replied, "You, mother my son, Nyatutkun, wife I married myself. I am no fool. My first wife, where can I find tobacco? Sister, your next child after Rieth will be your blessing. Will be your bleeding." This is the first prediction attributed to Ngundeng during his madness. It was when people provoked him that Ngundeng's spiritual strength began to reveal itself. While wandering in the bushes around Yuet, Ngundeng came across some of Mulal section sacrificing an ox. Throughout Ngundeng, he had not been eating meat, so he sat by himself apart from the rest. They noticed Nyayil's fool and decided to throw him the ribs, but a man from the Chia section, his Gatguanman objected to the ribs being given to a fool and was taken away from Ngundeng. Ngundeng looked at the man and watched him carefully. His Ganer, meaning maternal cousin, roll the ribs in ashes, and put them in the fire. Ngundeng turned away from them. He walked away and went to the bushes. Ngundeng said, "This is good." When Ngundeng left, his ganer took out the meat he threw into the fire, and pulled out a meat and ate it. Ngundeng's ganer went home at midday. He took his headrest and slept. In the evening, at the time cattle during is gathered up, people tried to wake him up. They found that man was finished. He was dead. People shouted, "Yes, Yayosville had finished something." Ran Pinyin, one of Ngundeng's maternal uncles, proposed that a pal, meaning prayer, be organized. The sacrifice of ox would cure Ngundeng of his illness if he were ill, or reveal his divinity. If he were seized, said the uncle. Others had disagreements of it, wondering why they should waste cattle on a foolish man. So Ran Pinyin offered to give Ngundeng a white cow first to see what would happen. Ngundeng drank the cow's milk, and then Ran Pinyin sacrificed a makol, a reddish-brown patched ox. Ngundeng's aberrant behavior stopped. He began to eat normal food, and his speech became clear. It was after this pal that he announced that he was seized by the divinity Deng. At the time, they claimed no divinity had ever spoke through a man. Pal were unknown, and it was Ngundeng who taught people to pray. But clearly there was a exception that some resolution to his illness could be achieved, and something revealed through the sacrifice. Ngundeng later taught the people his prayers through his songs, which drew on both Nuer and Dinka religious imagery. This was his innovation. Some may have tried it before him with less success. Other Lo recall that they were predecessors before Ngundeng's divinity spoke. His illness may have been caused by a power or other spiritual agent. There might also have been other men in Jikane who claimed seizures by divinity before Ngundeng. If so, they were soon eclipsed by Ngundeng's reputation, and divinity left them for Ngundeng because they did not communicate its words correctly. Once Ngundeng's divinity did speak, and it was named, it was upon to him to establish the character and attributes of that divinity through his words and action. Well, that's it for this video about Ngundeng. We just covered about, him identifying the divinity named Deng, and two things that happened: that he I guess murdered one of his cousins, and predicted one of his wives that they will have another child, or a period, I believe. Yeah. I hope y'all found this part of this story interesting. Next part of this series, we'll be discussing about his prophethood. So yeah, stay tuned to that, and have a blessed night.